Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I am Still Guns, and I welcome you back to my port in World of Warships. And today, we're going to be looking at one of the latest additions to the game. The first Russian battleship in the game, the Imperator Nikolai I. The Imperator Nikolai was laid down on the 28th of April 1915 in Nikolaev, in what is now the Ukraine. Construction actually began in June of 1914, but she was not actually laid down until April of the following year. The intention was to launch her in October 1915, but Russia's involvement in the First World War ensured that construction on the ship would slow to a crawl by the time of the October Revolution in 1917. On the 24th of October of that year, construction on the ship was halted until a so-called more favourable time, but in the end the ship managed to lay dormant until 1923. By the time the new Soviet government got round to inspecting the ship, it was in a very dilapidated shape, and its obsolete design was considered not worth completing, and she was scrapped in 1927. The ship had been built upon the same platform as the slightly earlier Imperatrica Maria class, but was supposed to be larger and more heavily armoured. The ship had been designed as a counter to prospective Ottoman dreadnoughts that had been ordered from British shipyards, the ships that would become the HMS Erin and HMS Agincourt. Despite this, the Imperator Nikolai was to have been armed with pretty much the same guns as the Imperatrica Marias. Imperator Nikolai was the last battleship ever laid down for the Imperial Russian Navy. The next class of Russian battleship would be the xcflcvfiovykgbhoihbguiibh class, only 4 of which were ever laid down. Following the scrapping of the Imperator Nikolai, the newest battleships in Russian service were the Imperatrica Marias. However, of that 3-ship class, 2 would be lost, and 1 would be scrapped, leaving the next newest class of battleships to be the Gangut class, only 3 of which remained. These battleships would eventually go on to provide some service during the Second World War, before they were all decommissioned in 1956 and scrapped. And thus, the topsy-turvy story of Russia's ill-fated battleships came to an end. Until now. The Imperator Nikolai, whilst showing how little wargaming cares about the Royal Navy, is at least a very welcome addition to World of Warships. Her unique construction makes her a very interesting ship to play compared to something like the American Wyoming or the Japanese Myogi. Imperator Nikolai sits at Tier 4 on the Russian tech tree. She has 44,800 hit points. That's 1,000 hit points more than the Wyoming and the Arkansas Beta, but 900 hit points less than the Japanese Myogi and Ishizuchi. She also has as little as 15mm of armour on her decks to 300mm of armour at her belt. She carries 12 pattern 1907 guns in 4 triple gun turrets, making her the lowest tier battleship with triple turrets. These guns have a maximum armor-piercing shell damage of 8,600, which is 600 points of damage more than the 12-inch guns on the Ishizuchi, but only 300 damage more than the 12-inch guns on the Wyoming and Arkansas Beta. High explosive shell damage is 4,500, which once again is 300 damage points higher than the Wyoming and Arkansas Beta, but it's astonishingly 700 points of damage less than the 12-inch guns on the Ishizuchi. The 180-degree turn time of the turrets is the worst of all of the Tier 4 battleships, 56.3 seconds. Compared to the Wyoming and the Ishizuchi, it's very bad, but compared to the turret turn time on the Myogi, which only has a turn time of 37.5 seconds. That's utterly dreadful. Also dreadful is the rate of fire, which is just 1.7 rounds per minute. That's the same as a stock Nagato. And to put that into numbers, that's about 36 seconds. Yeah, this battleship may have the same caliber guns as the Ishizuchi and the Wyoming, but it takes a lot longer to load and fire them. That being said, the Imperator Nikolai does have a fairly decent firing range of 14.1 kilometers. That's the same as the Wyoming, worse than the Miyogi, but better than the Ishizuchi and the Arkansas Beta. The Imperator Nikolai also has a fairly decent secondary battery of 20 130mm Model 1911 guns, each doing a maximum high explosive shell damage of 1900 and a firing out to a range of 3.7 kilometers. Her anti-aircraft firepower is, well, let's face it, it's shit. She only has 4 single mount Maxim machine guns and 2 single 63.3mm guns, or 2.5-inch guns. Yeah, and the damage these guns do is not a lot at all. The Imperator Nikolai has a top speed of 21 knots, which technically makes her the slowest of the Tier 4 battleships. Then again, the Wyoming and the Arkansas Beta do only have a top speed that is half a knot faster, so really it doesn't matter. She has a reasonably tight turning circle of 660 meters, which is only beaten by the Wyoming and Arkansas Beta. And she has a rudder shift time of 12.8 seconds, which, notwithstanding, is pretty average of Tier 4 battleships. The Wyoming takes 12.7 seconds, the Miyogi takes 12.3, the Arkansas Beta, on the other hand, takes 17.7. The ship is also one of the more stealthy Tier 4 battleships, if you could call a battleship stealthy. She has a surface detectability range of 12.8 kilometers. That's the best of any of the Tier 4 battleships, though her air detectability range of 10.4 kilometers is only beaten by the Wyoming and Arkansas Beta, which both have 9.7 kilometers. Now, so far you're probably thinking that this ship is probably a little bit average. It's got average guns, it's got average maneuverability, detectability. Well, the detectability is alright, but it's not too special, is it? Well, that's where I'd say you're wrong, because there's one area in which this ship shines, and that's battle readiness and the location of its turrets, or at least the positioning. This is the Arkansas Beta. As we can see, it has 12-inch guns in 6 double gun turrets. Now, you're sailing into battle, and an enemy pops up right in front of you. In order to shoot as many guns as possible at this guy, you're going to have to turn the ship a bit and get those 4 gun turrets behind the superstructure to turn around over 90 degrees to face the enemy. That's the problem with this ship. If an enemy pops up, you've got to turn all these guns, because you've got 8 guns facing the back of the ship and only 4 facing the front. It's the same deal with the Ishizuchi. You have over half of your armament facing aft. 3 turrets that you have to turn around just to get them to face the enemy. But that is not the case with the Imperator Nikolai. As soon as you sail into battle, you can have the majority of your armament facing the enemy at a moment's notice. If an enemy pops up in front of you, you just have to turn the ship a little bit and you have 9 guns facing that ship. And you're just waiting for 1 turret to turn. You can't do that with the other Tier 4 battleships. You just can't. And that makes the Imperator Nikolai uniquely advantaged in that it doesn't really have to show much of its broadside to shoot a good deal of its guns. If you broadside in this ship, you are not playing this ship correctly. That would be an incredibly stupid move. So, what does it take to play this ship? Well, admittedly, I do not have a great deal of experience, only 3 or 4 games, but I can at least show you my best game in it, and, well, we'll draw conclusions from that. So, we're here on the Solomon Islands map. I'm one of the Tier 4 battleships. The enemy team has just 2 Tier 4 battleships. We have 5 Tier 5 cruisers, 2 Tier 4 cruisers, and a Tier 3 cruiser, whilst the enemy have a Tier 5 destroyer instead. And here is the Imperator Nikolai, looking pretty, I guess. I say pretty. It is certainly a very nice looking ship. Looks better without the dazzle camouflage on, but well, if I want to do any well in this ship, I may as well use this. And it looks alright, I guess, with this dazzle camouflage on.
You're on your own.
Now, I know what I said about using this ship in broadsides, but that doesn't always count. You don't always have to drive this ship head on. You can still use broadsides quite effectively, such as against this Miyogi I'm about to engage. You see, I'm pretty confident about engaging this Miyogi, and he's not even a fully upgraded Miyogi. I can fire 12 guns at him, whilst he's coming at me with just 2 of his guns. I have crossed the T. And sorry about this, I like doing this, and unfortunately it does come out rather jerky. Thanks to my pretty poor PC specs. But yeah, you see, 2 shots, and they both missed. Unfortunately, the really long reload on these guns is going to cost me a few shots in this game. Not here though, because I'm not really concerned about that Miyogi. Well, I say concerned. I'm not going to take too many shots at him when he's pointing straight at me. This Furataka, I did kind of mess up the shot. You see, I'm really quite used to the Arkansas and the Wyoming, and so I just messed up ever so slightly. Cost me some damage there. Yeah, as I said, I've only played about 3 or 4 battles in this ship. So I'm really quite used to the much faster shell times of the Arkansas and the Wyoming. And I'm not sure what happened here. Those shells went high. Far too high. Maybe the dispersion factor had a hand in that. It does have 201 meters maximum dispersion, you never know. So anyway, that Miyogi is going to be in a much better spot to fire at him. Look, he's giving me his broadside. Nice, juicy broadside. Only 8 inches of armor because he is just a battle cruiser. Shots out. And going to hit him for a good damage roll, 15,000 plus damage there. And there were no citadels there. That was 6 penetrations. And our Karlsruhe? Königsberg? I think Königsberg just took him out. I think it was a Königsberg. So I was kind of contemplating taking on that Kolberg, but there's a wealth more targets here, and that Königsberg has that Kolberg locked down. So I instead go for this Kolberg. Shots out. 12-inch guns. Oh wow. Devastating strike. 2 hits to Citadel. That Kolberg just evaporated. Now here's what I mean about the gun layout. Look how well angled I am. You don't have to do a lot of this to get your guns, all of your guns, pointing forward at the enemy. It's just so good. I love this angle. I love this ship's angle, the way it's laid out. Now, unfortunately, this Karlsruhe, that's it. This Karlsruhe, the shells decided to go straight through that. I've still got about 2,500 damage off there. Now, I have finally taken a little bit of damage, but these guys are firing armor piercing at me for the most of it, and they're just bouncing off ineffectually. Now, there's another Furattaka. In fact, no, it's the first Furattaka. It's come back, and I decide to take him out because, well, we get rid of a few guns. And there we go. Furattaka annihilated. Still got 2 Karlsruhes fighting at me, and I'm on fire here. 2 fires. Not sure if I decide to use up the repair kit here. Now there is a bit of a bug here, a visual bug. My flag decides to get into the sniper mode, and it occludes the shot on this Karlsruhe. But you'll be able to see that indeed I managed to take him out. He was going to try and get his torpedoes on me, but no cigar. He just got too close, and I fired at the right time. Now, my situational awareness does let me down a little bit here. I'm firing at this second Karlsruhe here. I'm going to take him out. But I don't notice that at some point I'm going to run into some planes. I'm more focused on this Wyoming here. Now, as you can see, I've got a fire burning, but I don't have a repair kit, and so I decide to use my repair crews instead. And that's going to save me. If I did indeed have my repair kit available and I'd used it here, well, as we're about to find out, you can see there's some torpedo bombers, and I just wasn't aware of them until the last second. And they get some torps in the water. Fish in the water. Around about now. There they are. Hard to port, hard to starboard even. How did I get that wrong? Oh dear. Managed to take out my second turret there, but fortunately I did indeed have my repair kit available. That made me angry. So I immediately target this Langley. He has just been spotted. He hung around far too long. He is going to get annihilated by my armor-piercing shells. And just look how many citadels I give this guy. Wham! 2 citadels and half his health just vanishes. Friendly ship puts him some more shots. Reloaded second turret. And there we go. Another citadel. That's 5 kills in a battleship. The last time I got 5 kills was in the Minikaze, back in patch 3.0. A while ago. Now the enemy team has just got 2 ships left, and one of them is this remaining Furattaka. He's taken a massive beating. He's not going to be much of a match for me, especially when my shells penetrate a citadel from the front. Much strong Russian shells. They go through your armor like they are like hot knife through butter. Great Russian battleship. We have best battleship, even though it is only tier 4. It can take out Yamato. Oh, that got really bad at the end. Anyway, this Wyoming is now the last ship left. He is the focus of everyone on this team. And this is the last shot I get into him. If my guns reloaded at 30 seconds rather than 36, maybe I could have finished him off. As it happens, this guy turns broadside and gets finished off by another battleship. And what do you know? 321,879 credits received, 4,793 experience received, and 240 free experience, plus the devastating strike medal. 41 target hits, 1 incapacitation, 6 kills. That's the highest amount of kills I've ever got, and 6 citadels, probably the highest citadels I've ever got. Not to mention a mission completed. The team did universally quite well, so I only got 1,278 base experience out of that. That was still enough to put me as the highest player on the team, but it's not quite 2,000 or 3,000 experience. It's more of a high average than super awesome. Even so, that was still my best game in the thing. And so, that's 92,000 damage flat, with a single 627 damage shot from my secondaries. Because I was using a premium account, I got 1,917 experience rather than 1,278 base. But this was my first winner of the day, plus a 50% bonus granted by flags, which gave me this 4,193 experience received. And look at the amount of credits, 268,232 base with the premium, but times 1.2 with the signal flag, that apparently has given me 1,312,654 credits. What a game. So, that's the Imperator Nikolai I, Tier 4 Russian battleship, the first Russian battleship in the game, and it certainly doesn't disappoint. It does have some bad things about it. It's not particularly fast, its guns take ages to turn around, and its guns also take really bloody galactic light years to reload. But it's not bad. It isn't bad at all. And that is certainly a ship worth buying. So, my name is Still Guns. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Good luck on the high seas, and good night.